Okay, so today we're going to be talking about chronic myeloid leukemia. All right, so chronic myeloid leukemia. All right, so chronic myeloid leukemia is also going to be known as CML. That's what we're going to go and call it. All right, so what is it? Chronic myeloid leukemia, obviously, it comes under myeloproliferative neoplasms. All right, so myeloproliferative neoplasms, it is one of the myeloproliferative neoplasms. All right, so now, all right, we're going to go in. First of all, let's talk about the epidemiology. We've already, so something that we have already established, all right, is the fact that ALL is the most common, all right, is the most common cancer in children, all right, is the most common cancer in children, all right, that's the ALL, right, whereas CLL, all right, is the most common cancer in geriatrics, all right, about 3 to 9 years of age and about 60 to 70 years of age, right. Now, middle aged, all right, the middle aged to the elderly, right, so these are the guys who are going to be affected by CML, all right, so these are the guys who are going to be affected by CML. Okay, so what is the presentation? Let's say someone seems to have CML, all right? Someone has CML. So how would a person with CML present to you, all right? They would present to you with massive splenomegaly, all right? So assume that this is the spleen, so they're gonna have massive splenomegaly, all right? They're gonna have massive splenomegaly, all right? Now, is the person going to come to you and going to say, "So I have massive splenomegaly. Could you please diagnose me as CML?" No, obviously not. We're gonna go ahead and say that they have a dragging sensation in the abdomen. Alright, so that is something that does happen, dragging sensation in the abdomen. Alright, fun fact: I also have splenomegaly, but that it is only borderline. Alright, so that is me a dragging sensation in the abdomen. Alright, so that is what people are going to go ahead and feel. Alright, in the case of CML. Alright, next let's look at the pathogenesis now. How does CML happen? All right, I know in CLL we kind of looked at like the features and stuff before we looked at the pathogenesis, but out here is actually quite imperative that we look at the pathogenesis first. All right, so what happens essentially is going to be a 922 translocation. All right, a 922 translocation, all right, which leads to the formation of a Philadelphia chromosome. All right, now what is the Philadelphia chromosome? Let's go and just try to take a look at this, and by the way, this mutation is going to be about 95%. Another mutation that could happen is going to be translocation 3411. All right, so now see, what's essentially going to go to happen is that I'm going to go and show you with the help of a chromosome. All right, so let's go and say that we have a normal chromosome 9. Let's go and say that this is going to be a normal chromosome 9. All right, this will be a normal chromosome 9, and this is going to be a normal chromosome 22. Now what chromosome 22 has is going to be the BCR gene. Let's go ahead and say that this is the BCR gene. All right, and let's go ahead and say that this is chromosome so this is chromosome 9. So this is chromosome 22. This is going to be chromosome 9. All right, and chromosome 9 is going to have the ABL gene. All right, ABL gene, all right, is going to be responsible for tyrosine kinase. All right, tyrosine kinase activation. All right, and BCR gene basically has dimerization property. All right, if these two combine, we get a constitutively active tyrosine kinase. All right, now let's go and take a look at the combination. All right, so what happens is that the chromosomes break and then they get a change chromosome 9, all right, and a change chromosome 22. The change chromosome 22 is going to be the one which is going to be relevant to us. All right, so the chromosome 22 is going to be looking like this. All right, so let's go and say that this is here till the BCR gene. All right, this is what we have. All right, and then after that we have the ABL gene. All right, and part of chromosome 9. All right, so this is going to be known as the Philadelphia chromosome. All right, Philadelphia chromosome. So you're going to have BCR as well, and you're going to have ABL as well. Okay, so you can have BCR as well, and you can have ABL as well. So this is what we essentially are going to go and have. All right, a BCR ABL fusion gene. Now the BCR ABL fusion gene, right, it is going to go in, this is going to go and form a transcript, all right, which is going to go and give rise to a constitutively active tyrosine kinase. Okay, a constitutively active tyrosine kinase. We know that tyrosine kinase is going to be responsible for growth signaling, all right, and because it is responsible for growth signaling, what's going to go and happen is that there's going to be myeloproliferation. Now, is it going to be strictly just myeloproliferation? Does tyrosine kinase have some sort of a affinity for myeloproliferation? Kind of, it does to a certain extent, but lymphoid proliferation is also possible in CML. All right, do remember that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and talk about that also. Right, so what happens is that this is going to go and lead to CML. Understood? So did you understand? Just to recap, we have either a translocation 922 translocation. All right, so either we're going to go and have a 922 translocation, right, or we're going to go and have translocation 3411. All right, so 922 translocation is going to be there in 95% of the cases. All right, it leads to the formation of a Philadelphia chromosome, where basically ABL from the ninth chromosome, all right, is going to go transfer to the BCR, all right, or the 22nd chromosome, forming a Philadelphia chromosome, which forms a transcript, all right, which makes a constitutively active tyrosine kinase, which causes myeloproliferation and therefore CML, all right. That is with the pathogenesis, right? How does a patient present with splenomegaly, all right? Splenomegaly, does the patient say they have splenomegaly? Absolutely not. The patient says they have a dragging sensation in their abdomen, all right? So what is the epidemiology? All right, we can go and see that it is going to be a disease of the middle-aged as well as the elderly, all right? And it is a myeloproliferative neoplasm, as we have already seen and as is evident from the name, all right? So that's what we have looked at till now. Now let's go and move on to the treatment, all right? So why do we go to the treatment first? Because we know the pathogenesis so well, the treatment is also pretty easy. So the tyrosine kinase is active. Okay, block the tyrosine kinase. How do you block tyrosine kinase? All right, using inhibitors. All right, imatinib is going to be an inhibitor. All right, imatinib is going to be a tyrosine kinase inhibitor. All right, and imatinib mesylate to be precise. All right, so imatinib mesylate is going to be a tyrosine kinase inhibitor that we're going to go and end up using. All right, so imatinib mesylate is going to be the tyrosine kinase inhibitor. All right, so yeah, its brand name is going to be Gleevec. All right, not that we need to know the brand name, but yeah, just for the heck of it, I'm just telling you Gleevec, all right? Obviously a definitive treatment, some really young guy gets CML, then obviously the definitive treatment, this is simply going to extend the lifespan, right? A definitive treatment, it is going to be a stem cell transplant. Very expensive, very difficult to get, but for a young person, this is a pretty good option, all right? A pretty good option, in contrast with the other options that we have. Now, I just want to go ahead and look at this, the pathogenesis. Once again, I just want to go over the pathogenesis, right? So what happens is that you remember the BCR moiety, right? The BCR moiety, right, has a dimerization domain, all right? So the BCR moiety is going to have a dimerization domain. Now, this dimerization domain causes a constitutively active tyrosine kinase activity, all right? And this constitutively active tyrosine kinase activity, all right, is going to go and activate certain pathways, obviously. So RAS pathway, JAK-STAT pathway, all right, as well as AKT pathways, all right, which causes growth factor independent proliferation. Growth factor independent proliferation, all right. But there is normal differentiation. Okay, growth factor independent proliferation and normal differentiation. All right, that's why we have chronic myeloid leukemia. All right, where you can have mature cells, which we will see. Okay, so RAS pathways, the JAK-STAT pathways, the AKT pathways will be there. All right, because of this tyrosine kinase activity. All right, so this was just like a kind of a figure that I saw in Robbins. All right, so I thought it was worth mentioning out here. All right, just an extra addition to the pathogenesis. Again, not very important, but it is good to know. All right, now just one more thing, right? If someone comes to you with massive splenomegaly, right, is it okay for you to just kind of just say, yeah, okay, this person has massive splenomegaly, all right, he has a dragging sensation in the abdomen, he has CML? No, that is not good, right? So CML is, yes, it is one of the things that could happen, but then what are some other causes, right? And more often common causes, all right? So what are these causes that could happen that could lead to massive splenomegaly, all right? So you can have malaria, number one. You can have Kala Azar, right? Kala Azar. Now, Kala Azar, right? Let's say the patient is Bihari, right? So if the patient is Bihari, this is going to be more probable, all right? So if the patient has malaria, right? If the patient has malaria, the patient has Kala Azar, right? If the patient has, let's say, some myeloproliferative neoplasm, right? This is where CML is going to go and come in. This is where polycythemia vera is going to come in. This is where myelofibrosis is going to go and come in, all right? Then other diseases going to be like hairy cell leukemia, all right? So hairy cell leukemia is going to be there, and myelofibrosis, all right? So myelofibrosis I already talked about, sorry. So hairy cell leukemia and some storage disorders also there. Storage disorders, right? Gaucher's disease, okay? So Gaucher's disease, all right? So what are the things that could cause massive splenomegaly, all right? So it is something that is quite important to know so that we can make a differential diagnosis. Jumping onto CML, right, as soon as you see massive splenomegaly is kind of stupid. That's why we need to know that it can happen in the case of malaria, it can happen in the case of Kala Azar, it can happen in the case of myeloproliferative neoplasms such as CML, polycythemia vera, myelofibrosis, all right? It could happen in hairy cell leukemia. It could also happen in storage disorders such as Gaucher's disease, all right? So all of this, right, can lead to this thing, all right? Another thing that I also wanted to add, right, is that imatinib mesylate. Imatinib mesylate, all right, is it only and only even given for CML, no, gastrointestinal stromal tumors, right? They are also going to be controlled, right? So gastrointestinal stromal tumors, all right, are also treated with imatinib mesylate, all right? There's a c-kit mutation. The c-kit mutation is something that we do not need to know about right now. Just remember, c-kit mutation causing gastrointestinal stromal tumors, all right, treated with imatinib, all right? Imatinib mesylate, or as the brand name is, it is Miglivec, all right? Although you don't really need to know the brand name. Okay, so that is it about chronic myeloid leukemia part 1. We're going to move on to part 2.